Welcome to Protea Weekly. My name is Zane Stevens. I'm the founder of Protea Financial. And I come in with a lot of energy today. I just got off an amazing training, super excited about what we just spent some time on. So coming in with some really positive energy. On top of that, it is January 30th, 2024 in the outsourced accounting world. We are nearly through our busiest month of the year. January is chaotic. We have month ends, year ends, quarter ends, bank reporting, 1099s, tax accounts, all of it coming through at the same time. It's an exhausting month, but I'm super proud of my team that did just an absolutely fantastic job and crushed January. Super proud of them. Very busy month. Did a great job. Maintained communication. Stayed positive, which is even more important. And now they get to go into February, which is the most tiring month of the year because there's no break. We've just, work straight into those January month ends. So February can be really tough. But if we get through the first 10 business days, we get a little bit of a breather, we can regroup, refocus, and see where we're going. Just great. So today I wanted to pop in and talk about a topic for me that is just really, really important. And a lot of the time when people are asking about what do I look for in a good accountant, what do I look for in a good bookkeeper, my number one go to is always going to be great communication. I've had a few conversations in this month specifically about people looking for new tax providers because their biggest complaint is communication is terrible. And I go, well, that sucks. Great. Let's see if we can find you something else. But what I get from those conversations, though, even sometimes the communication is not great, they're more concerned about the inconsistency of communication rather than the communication itself being poor. When they do actually get responses, it is normally great, insightful, and value adding. But the problem is they have no reliance on when they'll get it. So if I get back to that original question, what makes a great bookkeeper, accountant, tax provider? It's this little topic of consistency. And consistency is significantly important in our day-to-day lives. One, consistency builds habits. And if you go out there and read a few books, and I spent some time at the end of last year reading probably one of the greatest books about habits called Atomic Habits by James Clear, they talk all about habit stacking and being consistent with small, good habits that build up on top of each other to lead to great results. Most of the time, people are super successful because they have good habits. Good habits is about being consistent, doing things regularly that will help them achieve a final goal. So if you are a business owner, an accountant, just Joe Schmo on the streets, one of the best ways to improve your life, improve your overall well-being, and as well as improve your efficiency and output is learn to be more consistent and stack good habits. Now, in the world of service providers, consistency is key. And there's a lot of reasons for it. But one of the biggest one, it is all about building trust. Just as I spoke to you about how people are upset that their tax providers have poor communication, it's not really about the communication. It's about the feeling that it's unreliable and they can't trust when their accountant will respond to them. And there's no trust that they'll respond in a timely manner or on time. So maybe they get a good answer, but they've had to already make a decision. And because they could not get that answer, they had to make the decision by themselves. That is terrible for building trust. With trust comes relationships, and having consistency in the way we interact with people, as well as in the consistency in the outputs that we provide people, the way I talk to you, the way I treat you. If you're consistently treating people with kindness and in a positive way, that builds a strong relationship. You have the trust because you're consistent, and because they know what to expect from you, it continues to build that relationship. Now, obviously, if you're unreliable and rude, that's going to deteriorate your relationship. But if you're consistently reliable and consistent in your approach, it'll build a really strong relationship. And I think that is sort of an undervalued process. You know, a lot of the time we look at our relationships personally with, loved ones, friends, family. It's because we know who they are, because we know how they're going to behave in certain circumstances, and we're happy with those circumstances. So we've built relationships through the consistency in behavior. It really shouldn't be any different from your personal life to your business life. And in general, I do this all the time in my life. I've spoken about this before. I work on time blocks. I try to be consistent. My days look very similar. I try to be consistent because it allows people to understand what they're getting from me. I am what I am, and I'm consistently that. That doesn't mean I'm not trying to improve on a daily basis. And I am, working on myself all the time, trying to find ways to be a better person, a better leader, a better spouse, a better parent. But I am consistent in the way I approach life, unless I realize it's the wrong approach, and then I adjust and then fulfill that behavior consistently going forward. The good thing about being consistent, and that's consistent in communication, consistent in output, consistent in the way we behave, is a great way to build a reputation of being reliable. People want service providers, especially people in a professional position that are either dealing with sensitive information or their money. They want them to be reliable. Reliability comes from being consistent. You don't want to be known as reliably inconsistent. You want to be known for being consistent and trustworthy and build those relationships. See how these are all stacking on top of each other? The outputs are consistent. In other parts of our life, though, it can help being consistent. I spoke about habits and Atomic Habits. Go read the book. Amazing. We'll tell you all about habit stacking and good habit stacking. But the best way to achieve a goal is to be consistent. You want to run a marathon? Well, you're going to have to consistently get out there and run the smaller runs, the long runs, the speed work, whatever it is necessary to be able to achieve that goal, to be able to go out there and complete 26.2 miles or 42.1 kilometers. You have to be consistent in the steps you take to achieve that goal. That's in a physical world, but it could be in a professional world as well. I want to achieve my goal to my next promotion. So I need to show consistency in my behavior, show that I am reliable, show that I'm trustworthy, show that I'm somebody that I can develop relationships with. And through the consistency of my behavior, be a leader that leads by example. Show that you're a leader consistently will allow you to become that leader by pure reputation, and the title will follow. Another great thing about consistency is a great way when you're developing new skills. Say you have a new job, consistently doing the process and procedures will help you learn them. Say you want to learn a new skill, like I want to learn a new language, you'll consistently have to attend your courses or do your reading and find time to talk to people in that language consistency to be able to learn it, get it to memory, and be able to use it forever. Consistency is a great tool in learning. For me, I try every day to listen to a book, fiction and nonfiction. I try to find time every single day to allocate time to self improvement. Currently, I'm trying to find time on a daily basis to exercise, to clear my mind, remove any stress I have, and give me the best opportunity to focus and grow and learn. Consistency is critically important in every aspect of your life. There is so many ways that it will make your life a lot easier. And just from a professional standpoint, consistency is great. It is, for me, the number one factor I look in people for in people. Can I trust them because they are consistent? Do I understand when they're going to work and when their outputs are coming? Do I understand they're going to consistently react in a certain way to certain circumstances? Now, it might sound like I'm creating a little bit of a robot, which, I get accused of fairly often, but consistency makes life easier. Sometimes removing those extra decisions out of your life by following a consistent routine does help. Now, I'm not saying you need to be boring. Find opportunities, take up opportunities when they come. My kid just pops in the room when I'm busy and says, "Hey, let's go throw a football." I'm not going to be like, "It's not time for football. Go and, I'm going to go jump on that." So it's not totally, you know, rigid, but finding consistency in my daily routines takes out a lot of the guesswork that just makes my life a lot easier. It's all about developing those good habits. And if you're just doing the same thing every single day, that's really important. And it could be as simple as a morning habit of my alarm goes off, I turn it off, I get up. I go make myself a cup of coffee. While the coffee's making, I have a glass of water. And then I do whatever my morning routine looks like. For me, straight onto my computer and I start getting working. It will be different for every single person. I work to a certain time in the morning, and then I start emptying the dishwasher, I make my food, I exercise, I eat. That's what my routine looks like. My routine was off this morning. I had to deal with a few other things this morning that is outside of what my routine has been created over the last month. It's a little bit grouchy. I got to the office, I was like, that just didn't feel right. And that's the sort of mental side of good consistency and habits, is that if you do things over and over, it creates comfort in your life. you know, when you perform an action consistently, your brain forms like these neurological pathways around that behavior, which makes it better to us. And it's just a part of the learning and adaptation. It's the way we are sort of created. So if you're doing things consistently, you're going to get better at what you're doing. Doing things consistently and creating good habits sort of just takes a lot of the mental effort out of it, right? It's not like I have to go up and wake up and go, okay, what do I need to do this morning? That's not part of my process, right? I understand that things are going to happen. It becomes a lot more automatic. Think about those of you who commute to work. It's the same route all the time. I bet you there's multiple times where you're just at work and you're like, don't know how I got you. Well, that is because there's very little mental effort. Even though you are probably very focused on what you're doing, you're able to jump into the subconscious because you're so used to the same process. Having consistent behavior and good habits builds momentum. I mean, if you start working out, it sucks. But if you keep doing it consistently, it gets easier and easier. And then you have to lift the level and start again. It helps you build momentum. It's like that snowball down the hill. It's consistently rolling, consistently pick up snow and getting bigger and bigger and bigger and better. Consistency develops self-discipline, which for me is one of the biggest challenges of the best of times. I've always struggled with self discipline in the way that I will more often than not forego a certain need in my life to focus on another one. I will always give up a bit of exercise for my family. Historically, I've given up my health and exercise for work. I will quickly give up on things that I think are more important, but the truth of growing, and maybe this is me just getting a little bit older and maybe a little bit more mature, the self discipline of creating good habits around work, family, fitness, health, and whatever else makes you happy will create a better person. It'll bring more joy to your life. And it'll just make you feel more fulfilled. Development of self discipline through consistency is super helpful. It doesn't matter if you're a small business owner, an accountant, or a man on the side of the street, consistency will improve your life. I 100% recommend everybody go read Atomic Habits by James Clear. and I'm going to read it a second time. I read it about 4 months ago. I plan to read it again and probably another time. I've audiobooked it. I actually want to get the paper copy and read through it. I know your brain sort of operates things differently between paper and audios, so I'm going to spend some time doing that as well. But if you are in business, in any business, I would focus on consistency as your big goal through this year. My guess is a lot of you right now that it's January 30th and your New Year resolutions are out the window. There's a good chance that it's January 30th and you've already failed on some of your goals that you set yourself for this year. So I would say today, January 30th, before we head into the second month of 2024, go ahead and reset your goals for the year and create an additional goal that you will try be more consistent in your professional life, consistent in communication, consistent in when you're working, and consistent in the output that you're giving to the people you're working for. If you can go and do this and try be a little bit more consistent and develop good habits that stack upon each other on a daily basis, you're going to build trust. You're going to get a good reputation of reliability. You're going to achieve goals that you never thought you could. You're going to develop strong relationships. You're probably going to improve your decision making processes because you're used to processing through on a consistent basis. And most importantly, you're going to be happier and your mental health will probably improve. And I probably even shouldn't say probably, it will improve. You will feel less flustered because you're getting things done when they're supposed to be and you're not always under pressure. Consistency is a superpower. And if you're out there evaluating a professional today, I would say try to figure out if they're consistent. If your service provider isn't consistent, I'd contemplate a change. Consistency is a superpower. Use it. It'll make a difference in your life. It will make your life better. It'll improve the way you feel. Enjoy the last couple of days of January. I'm excited to see where the rest of this year goes. Be kind. Until next time. Goodbye.